This soldier risked his life to save a baby in the forest. This is a true story of heroism. A baby was trapped in a burning forest and no one could help her. That was until a brave soldier and his military working dog came to the rescue. The intense heat from the flames made it nearly impossible for anyone to go near the forest. But the soldier knew he had to try. He put his life on the line and ran into the woods as fast as he could. When suddenly, just as quickly as he'd entered, he came running back out, choking, and with his clothes on fire. The other soldiers were stunned. They'd never seen anything like this before. How could he have survived the inferno? And what about the baby? Had she been saved, or did the soldier make a terrible mistake? Before we continue, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new stories. It was a sunny day in California. For once, there was no threat of wildfire. So a group of soldiers were able to relax and enjoy the beautiful weather. They decided to have a barbecue and invited their families and friends. Among them was a woman named Crystal Serrano with her 2 children. She thought it would be a great opportunity for them to spend time with other children, and for them to get to know the parents' friends. As the sun began to set, the party started to wind down. Most of the guests were leaving when suddenly the sky lit up, and a bolt of lightning struck the ground nearby. Everyone looked up in surprise as more flashes of lightning illuminated the darkening sky. Before long, heavy rain began to fall, too. The soldiers immediately realized that this wasn't a summer thunderstorm. This was a serious storm that could lead to a terrible wildfire. They rushed to their vehicles and drove as fast as they could away from the forest. But not everyone was so lucky. A group of 12 people were hiking in the woods, and now had to run for their lives. The raging flames spread rapidly through the dry underbrush and soon engulfed the entire forest. One hiker cried out in horror as a burning tree fell right next to him. He desperately tried to put out the flames on his body, but it was no use. His clothes were soaked in gasoline, and the flames only grew larger. The heat was so intense that it made breathing difficult, and the air was filled with smoke. But even in this chaos, one woman stood out. She was desperately trying to protect her baby who was still strapped to her back. The others had already managed to escape the flames, but she and her baby were still stuck in the inferno. There was no way she could carry on like this. Soon she would pass out from the smoke inhalation, and her baby would die along with her. But then suddenly, like an angel sent from above, a soldier appeared and carried the unconscious woman and her baby to safety. The man who had saved them was named Specialist John Veer, and he was part of the elite unit known as the Dog Squad. These soldiers work closely with specially trained dogs who can sniff out explosives and other dangerous substances. In peacetime, they perform important tasks at airports and other public places. But when danger strikes, they're among the first to respond. And John was just in the right place at the right time. He had been training in a nearby area when he heard the desperate cries of the hikers. Without hesitation, he grabbed his equipment and ran to help. His military working dog, a Belgian Malinois named Remco, was by his side in an instant. This dog had been specially trained to search for survivors in disaster areas. Together, John and Remo made a great team. When they arrived at the scene, all 12 hikers had already managed to escape. But John noticed something strange. One of the women had passed out, and her baby was still strapped to her back. Although the forest was completely engulfed in flames, John didn't hesitate for a moment. He knew he had to save the baby. But how could he possibly do that? The heat was unbearable, and the flames were everywhere. It was virtually impossible to walk just a few steps without being burned. Even if he got close enough to grab the baby, how would he carry her to safety? Just then, John's eyes fell on Remo, who was whining softly and licking his hand. The dog had already found the woman and was now nudging her with his nose, as if he were telling her, "Don't worry, I've got you." But the question still remained. How would they get close enough to grab the baby? The only option was to go through the flames. Putting his life on the line, John grabbed a blanket to protect himself from the flames and ran into the burning forest. Seconds later, he came running back out, choking and with his clothes on fire. The other soldiers were stunned. They'd never seen anything like this before. John managed to put out the flames and stumbled to a nearby car where someone was waiting to take the baby. He was badly burned and couldn't even breathe properly, but he didn't care. He'd managed to save the baby. John had put his own life in danger to save the child, but the risk had been worth it. Meanwhile, Remo was also badly burned, but he didn't seem to mind at all. The brave dog had fulfilled his task and now licked John's face as if to say, "Good job." The little girl was taken to a hospital where she was treated for smoke inhalation. Fortunately, both she and her mother made a full recovery. In an interview afterwards, the grateful mother said, "I think God sent him. He was our guardian angel. We're very, very lucky to be alive." John and Remo were both given medals for their bravery. John was awarded the Soldier S Medal for saving the baby, and Remo received the prestigious Dickin Medal for his part in the rescue. Although he was honored to receive the award, John insisted that he had only done what he had been trained to do. "I didn't do anything exceptional," he said modestly. "It was just another day at work for me." But everyone knew that this was just modesty. What John had done was truly exceptional. He had risked his life and overcome seemingly insurmountable odds to save a human life. Even more impressive is that this isn't the first time John has performed a heroic act. In 2014, he saved the life of a comrade who had been wounded by an improvised explosive device. For this, he was awarded the Purple Heart. John is truly a hero of our time, someone who puts himself in danger to help others without hesitation. As for Remo, he went on to serve in many more operations after the rescue. He was a true professional, and his service to his country will never be forgotten. The story of John and Remo is truly inspiring. They show us that, even in the darkest of times, hope can shine through. The bond between the soldier and his dog is particularly touching. They were more than just partners. They were friends who trusted each other with their lives. The bravery of these two heroes will never be forgotten. They remind us that no matter how difficult the situation may seem, we should never give up hope. With courage and determination, we can overcome any obstacle and save lives. John and Remo are true role models for us all. Their story teaches us that loyalty, bravery, and selflessness are qualities that we should strive for in our everyday lives. What do you think of the story of this soldier and his dog? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please leave us a like and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any new stories. Thank you for watching.